I'm April Latham. I'm a scientist with the USDA Agricultural Research Service out here in Kimberly, Idaho. And my research program is focused on integrated dairy, livestock, and cropping systems. And where we're at today is one of our long-term studies that we call the Long-Term Manure Study, which was a study started in 2012 to look at using manure in a crop rotation that was not typical for a dairy forage production system. So this study has a crop rotation of wheat, potatoes, sugar beets, and barley. And we wanted to look at using manure in these different crops because there are a lot of producers in our area that produce these crops and are a little bit nervous about using manure in these systems because they're worried about issues with disease, crop quality, and in some cases they're really just not sure how to handle the nutrient management when it comes to using manure in the rotation. So this study looks at 3 different rates of manure that we apply either every year or every other year. So we have a low rate of manure that's 15 tons per acre, a medium rate that's 30 tons per acre, and a high rate that's more typical for what we see on lots of dairy producers' fields. It's closer to 45 tons per acre. And we also have 2 treatments, a control and a fertilizer, that show the differences between using strictly fertilizer in your rotation and using manure. And then we're really looking at nutrient cycling within the soils, particularly nitrogen and phosphorus, looking at nitrogen mineralization rates when it's becoming available to the plants, looking at soil cycling of nitrogen and phosphorus, plant uptake, and nitrogen and phosphorus throughout the soil profile. And another important component is we're also looking at how these management practices and the application of manure are affecting the buildup of soil carbon over time. Because this is a way that you can offset some of your greenhouse gases from your production facility is with the carbon that's stored in the soils here in the agricultural fields. And as you can see, our fields are irrigated. For those of you who are not out in the arid west, it's hard to imagine, but none of our crops grow without continuous irrigation. It's a really important feature that plays into how nutrients are cycled, the type of emissions that we see from these fields. Another thing is that when we use crops like potatoes and sugar beets in our rotations, we can't have a true no-till system because just the harvesting of those crops creates quite a bit of soil disturbance, which is pretty much the same as cultivating a field.